December 1944. Europe is freezing. Not just cold, but brutally, relentlessly cold. Snow blankets the Ardennes forest like a white shroud, muffling sound, swallowing roads, turning fields into traps of ice and mud. Breath freezes in the air. Weapons jam, engines struggle to start. For the men on the ground, winter is as dangerous as the enemy. American soldiers are surrounded, starving, outnumbered, and running out of time. At the center of it all is one small Belgian town, Bastogne, a place that, on any ordinary map, would mean almost nothing. But in war, geography decides fate. The German army believes it has set the perfect trap. They expect the Allies to panic. They expect confusion. They expect surrender. After all, the Americans are cold, cut off, and exhausted. But what they don't expect is George S. Patton. And when Patton does the impossible, when he reaches Bastogne first, Supreme Allied Commander Dwight Eisenhower reacts in a way that reveals not just military judgment, but deep respect for a man he often struggled to control. This is the story of what Eisenhower said when Patton reached Bastogne first, and why that single moment changed the course of the Second World War. By mid-December 1944, the war in Europe seemed nearly won. Paris had been liberated months earlier. The Allied armies were pushing steadily east. Germany was retreating on every front. Many Allied generals believed the enemy was on its last legs. Supplies were short. Morale was cracking. Hitler's defeat felt inevitable. They were wrong. Desperate men take desperate risks, and Adolf Hitler was about to take the biggest gamble of his life. On December 16, 1944, before dawn, German artillery erupted across a wide front. Shells slammed into American positions without warning. Out of the fog and snow came tanks, infantry, and elite panzer divisions. Hitler had launched his final gamble, a massive surprise counteroffensive through the Ardennes forest, the same forest the Germans had used to shock the world in 1940. Over 250,000 German soldiers surged forward. They slammed into thin, inexperienced American lines. Units were overwhelmed, roads clogged with refugees and retreating troops. Communication broke down. The front buckled. A massive bulge formed in the Allied defenses. History would remember it as the Battle of the Bulge. At the center of this chaos stood Bastogne. 7 major roads crossed through the town like spokes on a wheel. Control Bastogne, and you controlled movement across the Ardennes. Reinforcements, fuel, ammunition, everything depended on it. The Germans knew this, so they moved fast. They surrounded Bastogne completely. Inside the town were the men of the 101st Airborne Division, elite paratroopers, but paratroopers meant to fight light and mobile. They had no tanks, little artillery, almost no winter clothing. Many were rushed into positions straight from rest camps. Temperatures dropped well below freezing. Ammunition ran low. Food was rationed. Medical supplies disappeared. Wounded soldiers lay freezing in foxholes and makeshift aid stations. Yet still, they held. German commanders sent a formal surrender ultimatum. It promised destruction if resistance continued. The American response? One word: nuts. It was defiance distilled into a single syllable. But courage alone would not save Bastogne. Defiance could not stop tanks forever. They needed relief, and they needed it fast. Far to the south, one man was already thinking ahead: George S. Patton. Patton was everything Eisenhower wasn't: loud, profane, impulsive, and undeniably brilliant. He believed war was meant to be fought aggressively when not at all. Where others saw risk, Patton saw opportunity. While other commanders hesitated, Patton attacked. While other commanders debated supply lines and weather forecasts, Patton moved. Speed was his religion. Just days earlier, before the German offensive even began, Eisenhower had posed a question during a meeting, a hypothetical.
What would you do if the Germans attacked here? Most generals paused. They thought. They calculated. Patton didn't hesitate. I'd turn my army north in 3 days. 3 days. The room fell silent. Turning an entire army takes planning, coordination, and time. Most generals would need weeks. Eisenhower was stunned, but he was also intrigued, because Patton wasn't guessing. He had already planned it. Now, with Bastogne surrounded, Eisenhower remembered that moment. He turned to Patton again. "Can you do it?" There was no drama in Patton's reply, no long explanation, just confidence. Hell yes. Patton commanded the Third Army, already locked in combat far to the south. Turning it north meant disengaging units, redirecting supplies, and rewriting operational plans overnight. 250,000 men, thousands of vehicles, artillery, fuel trucks, ambulances, all of it in the middle of winter, on icy roads, under enemy pressure. Military textbooks said it couldn't be done. Patton didn't care what the textbooks said. Orders went out immediately. Divisions pivoted north in near total darkness. Columns of tanks crawled through snow-covered roads. Traffic jams stretched for miles. Engines froze solid in the night. Men marched through blizzards, exhausted but driven forward by urgency. Patton demanded speed and got it. He even ordered a chaplain to write a prayer for good weather. A strange move for a man not known for quiet faith. Yet within days the skies cleared. Was it coincidence or belief made real through action? On December 26, 1944, Patton's tanks finally broke through German lines. At the front was the 4th Armored Division. They fought through roadblocks, ambushes, and enemy fire. By late afternoon, American armor rolled into Bastogne. The siege was broken. The men of the 101st Airborne were no longer alone. Cheering soldiers emerged from foxholes, hands were shaken, cigarettes were shared. Against all odds, Patton had done the impossible. Dwight Eisenhower was not a man prone to emotional outbursts. He was calm, measured, political. His role required balance between egos, nations, and strategy. He had often been frustrated by Patton, the slapping incidents, the public arrogance, the refusal to soften his image. At times, Eisenhower had seriously considered sidelining him permanently. Yet when news arrived that Patton had reached Bastogne first, Eisenhower reportedly turned to his staff and said words that carried real weight. "This is one of the greatest feats of American arms." It was more than praise, it was acknowledgement. In another moment, Eisenhower admitted something even deeper. "Patton is a commander I can afford to lose, but I cannot afford not to use." That sentence revealed the truth of their relationship. Patton was dangerous, but he was necessary. Eisenhower knew something else, too. No other general could have done this. Not Montgomery, not Bradley, not anyone else. Patton had saved Bastogne, and by saving Bastogne, he helped save the Allied offensive. The Battle of the Bulge was Hitler's last real chance to change the war. If Bastogne had fallen, German forces could have split the Allied armies in two. Supply lines would have collapsed. Political pressure might have followed. Peace negotiations on German terms might have entered the conversation. History could have changed. But Patton's relief of Bastogne crushed that hope. German fuel ran out. Weather improved, allowing Allied air power to dominate the skies. The German advance stalled. Then it collapsed. After the Bulge, Germany was finished. The road to Berlin was open. Eisenhower understood the weight of that moment. Patton had not just won a battle, he had preserved momentum, confidence, belief. Yet Patton would never fully receive the recognition he deserved. He died in 1945, just months after the war ended. No victory parade, no final command, no chance to shape the peace he had helped win. Only history. Eisenhower once said, "Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it." Patton wanted to fight. He wanted to win. And when the war demanded speed, courage, and defiance of the impossible, Patton answered. Bastogne stands today not just as a symbol of endurance, but as proof that sometimes history turns on one man's refusal to slow down. And in that frozen winter of 1944, when Patton reached Bastogne first, even Eisenhower knew this was Patton's moment.